You've been told that sin is about morality, that it's about right and wrong. But what if that's the greatest lie ever told? What if sin has nothing to do with making God angry and everything to do with sabotaging your own frequency? You're not punished for sin, you're punished by it. Because every time you fall into pride, envy, lust, wrath, or any of the others, you're not just making a mistake, you're misfiring your energetic signal. Manifestation isn't magic, it's math, it's frequency, vibration, alignment, and sin scrambles that signal every single time. Let's redefine what manifestation really is. It's not about forcing the external to bend to your will. It's about attuning to a version of you that already exists. Manifestation is revelation. You don't attract what you want. You reveal what you already are. But here's the hidden trap. When your energy is infected by sin, you tune yourself to a version of life that cannot hold your desires. Your dream life exists, but not at the frequency you're currently on. In this message, I'll break down why sin isn't religious, it's energetic. How the 7 deadly sins quietly sabotage your manifesting power, and how to shift out of these traps so you can finally align with the version of reality that's been waiting for you. This isn't about guilt. This is about power. Most people live trapped in a single lens, the human perspective, bound by 5 senses and physical perception. But to be human is to be steeped in illusion, the illusion of separation. And as long as you think like a human, you live cut off from the divine current within. You weren't meant to create from effort. You were meant to align with what already is. But sin distorts your signal. It pulls you out of sync with infinite intelligence, what some call God, Source, or the divine. Reality is not truth. It is a mirror of your consciousness. And when consciousness is limited, the mirror reflects only lack, fear, and confusion. Religions turned sin into a weapon, something to fear, something to guilt yourself over. But sin was never about breaking a rule. It was about breaking resonance. The word sin comes from an ancient archery term, to miss the mark. To sin is to misalign, to aim your frequency away from the divine truth that lives inside you. That's the real consequence. Not divine punishment, but divine disconnection. Your ego can't manifest anything. It can only desire. But the God within you, that infinite intelligence, does the work. Only when you plug back in does the miraculous become natural. Sin is not fire and brimstone. It's frequency distortion. And when you live misaligned, you live diminished. Period. You don't suffer because a God is angry. You suffer because you're vibrating below your power. Every moment you operate from ego, fear, control, doubt, you unplug from the infinite. You trade divine intelligence for survival mode logic. And the result? A life that reflects the limits you believe in. Here's the irony. The more you try to define God, the further you drift from it. Because the real God isn't a man in the sky. It's uncontainable. It's impersonal yet intimate. And it's within you. Every time you identify only with your ego, the body, the story, the wounds, you shrink. Your signal drops. Your vision distorts. And your world becomes a reflection of that distortion. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest who you are. And who you are is who you believe yourself to be. Let's walk through the 7 deadly sins, not as outdated religious warnings, but as energetic blind spots that distort your frequency, delay your desires, and fragment your power. These are not sins in the traditional sense. They are vibrational misfires. They are echoes of an ego trying to survive in a world it was never meant to control. Each one reveals where you've unplugged from divine intelligence and started operating from fear, illusion, or spiritual amnesia. 1. Pride, the illusion of self-sufficiency. At its root, pride is the spiritual delusion of autonomy, the belief that you, as the ego, are separate from the source and can create without it. It's subtle. It hides behind achievement, intellect, planning, and ambition. But what it really says is, I don't need help, I've got this. And that very belief is what cuts off the flow. Pride creates an energetic wall between you and the divine. You become obsessed with the how instead of trusting in the now. You try to force results instead of receiving divine solutions. And in doing so, you isolate yourself from the infinite. Jesus wasn't being poetic when he said, "With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." He was describing universal law. The ego cannot manifest miracles, but the God within you always can. Pride keeps you in the illusion that you must earn what's already yours. It makes you hustle for what your spirit was designed to attract effortlessly. For example, an entrepreneur tries to launch a business purely through hustle, micromanaging every detail, working long hours, and obsessing over control. But nothing flows. The harder they push, the more resistance they meet. Why? Because they've forgotten the source. Only when they finally surrender and realign with their inner guidance do synchronicities, clarity, and ease return. Manifestation begins, not from effort, but from alignment. The moment you surrender control is the moment divine orchestration takes over. 2. Envy, the frequency of lack. Envy is the shadow of comparison. It's not about the other person. It's about what you believe you lack. Energetically, envy says, "There's not enough for me. I'm behind. Their success proves I'm failing." But the truth is this: consciousness is not in competition with itself. Every person you envy is showing you a mirror, a reflection of an untapped frequency within you. Their reality is not a threat, it's an invitation. The danger of envy is that it anchors you in scarcity. It trains your nervous system to see life through the lens of lack, and the universe always echoes your dominant frequency. But when you transmute envy into inspiration, something miraculous happens. Instead of seeing separation, you see resonance. You recognize, that's me too, just at a different vibrational expression. Let's bring this to life. A woman scrolls through social media and sees a friend get engaged, another friend on vacation, and another launching a thriving business. Her heart quietly whispers, "When is it my turn?" That moment, though subtle, is a declaration of lack. But when she shifts to celebration and truly feels joy for them, her own frequency rises. The universe now hears, "I'm ready too," and life begins to reflect that readiness. What you admire in others is the universe whispering, "This is already yours. Align and receive." 3. Sloth. Energetic stagnation. Sloth is often misunderstood. It's not just procrastination, it's energetic gridlock. It's the spiritual condition of misalignment between your identity and your intention. You say you want change, but part of you still clings to who you were. You visualize the new, but vibrate with the old. The result? Energetic friction. Movement becomes sluggish. Action feels heavy. Intuition goes silent. Sloth isn't solved through hustle. It's healed through internal reprogramming. You don't need more willpower. You need more identity alignment. When you truly become the version of you who already has the result, action becomes a natural consequence of your being. Consider this. A man wants to get in shape. He sets goals, joins a gym, and creates a workout plan. But weeks go by, and nothing happens. It's not laziness. He wants change. But internally, he still identifies as someone who struggles with discipline. The breakthrough happens not at the gym, but within, when he begins to feel and embody the energy of his future self. Strong, focused, vibrant. Suddenly, showing up becomes natural, because his frequency caught up to his desire. Your actions don't create change, your identity does. When you become it, reality has no choice but to respond. 4. Greed, the illusion of never enough. Greed is the frequency of disconnection from sufficiency. It's rooted in the fear that what you are is not enough, and that fulfillment exists somewhere out there. Greed doesn't just manifest in material desire. It can show up in relationships, experiences, knowledge, even spiritual growth. It's the constant reaching, acquiring, achieving, while never arriving. And here's the paradox. The more you chase from lack, the more you confirm lack. Because the universe isn't listening to your words, it's tuning in to your emotional vibration. The cure for greed is to re-enter the space of I have. Because when you feel full without having the thing, that's when the thing comes to meet you. For instance, a high-level executive earns more money than ever, but still feels restless. He buys a new car, a bigger house, more investments, but peace remains out of reach. His energy is stuck in not enough. Despite his wealth, he's vibrating lack. But the moment he grounds himself in gratitude and truly feels whole with what he already has, the tension dissolves. Abundance begins to expand, not just in dollars, but in joy. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you already are. 5. Lust, the surface-level craving. Lust is often confused with love, but it's really about external projection rooted in internal void. It's the addiction to outer form without inner fulfillment. You're not drawn to the thing. You're drawn to what you think the thing will make you feel. Lust says, if I get this person, this car, this lifestyle, then I'll feel worthy, loved, free, powerful. But the truth, you can't attract wholeness from emptiness. You can't magnetize love while vibrating need. And you can't become abundant while anchored in lack. Lust is the illusion that satisfaction is elsewhere. But what you're truly craving isn't the thing. It's the state of being that thing represents. And when you generate that state within yourself first, the outer must reflect it back. You've probably seen this before. A woman dates constantly, searching for the one to complete her. Each relationship ends in disappointment. Why? Because she's projecting from a place of emptiness, hoping someone else will fill it. When she turns inward and begins nurturing her own sense of self-love, joy, and presence, she stops chasing love and becomes it. And that's when love finds her. You are not seeking the thing. You are seeking yourself through the thing. Embody the feeling first, and the form will follow. 6. Wrath, the energy of unconscious reaction. Wrath isn't just rage, it's energetic volatility. It's what happens when your awareness collapses and your emotions hijack your frequency. You're no longer creating from alignment. You're reacting from pain. In metaphysical terms, wrath is the ego's defense mechanism. It lashes out when it feels powerless. It fights to preserve control. But every emotional outburst pulls you deeper into chaos and further away from manifestation. When you react unconsciously, you give away your creative power. Your frequency destabilizes. and the universe mirrors that instability back to you. Wrath is survival consciousness, and you cannot build paradise while vibrating in war. The path to mastery is emotional sovereignty. It's not about suppressing your emotions. It's about being aware of them, feeling them fully, and choosing your response from power, not pain. For example, a father is cut off in traffic while driving his kids. In a flash, he explodes, yelling, pounding the steering wheel, energy surging with rage. But later, he feels drained, regretful, and ashamed. Why? Because in that moment, his state was hijacked by emotion. Now imagine if, in that same moment, he paused, breathed, and chose peace instead. Not only would he preserve his power, he would model divine composure to his children. This is the difference between reacting from ego and responding from the infinite. 7. Gluttony. The endless consumption of the unfulfilled. Gluttony isn't about appetite, it's about disconnection. It's the compulsive attempt to fill a spiritual void with external things. Food, scrolling, sex, shopping, content, even spiritual practices. But the more you consume from misalignment, the more starved you feel. Because the real hunger isn't physical, it's spiritual. Gluttony is what happens when your nervous system desperately searches for stimulation to distract from the ache of separation, from source, from stillness, from self. But you don't need more. You need reconnection. When you remember who you are, when you align with the infinite, your cravings dissolve. Not because you suppressed them, but because you no longer need them. Gluttony isn't about indulgence. It's about being spiritually malnourished. And once you feed your soul, the endless hunger fades. A woman comes home after a long day and immediately turns on Netflix, opens a bag of chips, and scrolls her phone, all at once. She's not enjoying any of it, she's numbing. But deep down, what she truly craves is stillness, silence, a walk, breath, connection to herself. When she finally chooses to sit in silence, journal, and reconnect with her inner world, she feels full. Not because she consumed, but because she realigned. The 7 deadly sins are not punishable offenses. They are energetic misalignments. They are distortions, frequencies that confuse your signal, fragment your power, and keep you from becoming the master of your reality. To manifest the life you were born to live, you must release pride and surrender to the God within. You must transmute envy into inspiration. You must break free from the stagnation of sloth by aligning frequency with action. You must transform greed by embodying abundance now. You must overcome lust by seeking essence, not image. You must discipline wrath through emotional sovereignty. And you must heal gluttony by nourishing the soul, not just the senses. This is not behavior modification. This is energetic reconfiguration. This is the rebirth of your signal, the awakening of your spiritual voltage. This is how you reclaim your place as a divine creator. You are not here to beg the universe. You are here to command it through alignment. So here's your invitation. Pause, reflect, realign. What frequency have you been transmitting? And who might you become if you chose right now to live in the vibration of your highest self? Speak no more in the language of lack. Move no more in the energy of chasing. Instead, become the version of you who no longer waits, but creates. Ready to go deeper? Reflect on which of these 7 frequencies is subtly shaping your life right now. Journal it. Own it. Transmute it. And if you're ready to unlock your next level, watch the next message in this series, where we'll dive deeper into spiritual sovereignty and how to activate divine intelligence on demand. Because your next reality isn't waiting, it's vibrating, and it's time you matched it.